Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Kelvin here. So for this episode, I have a special guest, Daryl. Welcome to the channel.
Pleasure to be here.
Actually, when I first discovered your channel, right, it was around 4k subs. But a few months later, you already reached 9k, right? And the one thing that caught my attention was your video qualities. It was super good, much better than mine actually. The thing that I'm more impressed is that you have time to do video content even though you are still studying in NUS. Where do you find the time to do that?
How I found the time to actually do YouTube content while studying was that I compromised on the study. So I legitimately did pretty badly for my finals for the last semester as compared to my previous semesters. But I didn't really care much about my grades at that point, so it didn't really bother me. So to put it realistically, yeah, that's how I actually find time. I don't study as much as I used to.
As long as you can graduate, then it's good
as long
enough.
as you can graduate, get that degree.
It was the same for me. You are a student in NUS Computing, and I'm also a student in NUS Computing. That makes me your senpai.
Oi, my senior.
But why do you choose to be a computing student?
Okay, I'm gonna give you guys the very boring answer. Okay, I went to the open house with my friends one day and we chanced upon Bamboo Canteen, which was having this presentation at the point of time. And turns out that presentation was about NUS computer science and computing in general. And I was one of those Singaporean kids that went through the education system. You know, the O levels, A levels, did well, had no direction in life. And when they were talking about NUS computing and the opportunities it offered, you could be a game programmer, you could do software engineering, security, things like that. I was pretty interested. And then they showed the monthly earnings for fresh graduates. Computing was up there back in 2018. Then I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because of that, I just put that as my first choice before I went to NS. So this decision to join NUS computing wasn't made based off any real rationalization or what I really wanted to do in the future.
No, we all play computer games. That's why I chose computing.
It's like we think, oh, we play a lot of video games, right? Then we're like, oh, you know, we are decent at computing. Well, it's totally different, guys. A totally different thing. Yeah, don't be sucked into that trap.
Any reason you chose NUS instead of NTU?
Because I did well. I did well enough to join the NUS computing, so. And NTU was a bit further away. I guess back then as well, fresh out of A-levels, and when you're like a Singaporean student, you always think, oh, NUS is the top school in Singapore, that kind of thing. Then I was like, just join NUS. I'm able to join NUS, just join NUS. But if I were to choose again, right, either one would have been fine for me, honestly.
Same. NUS also gave me the feeling that it was the top. It was the better one. And then later on, I also found that there was not much difference.
Yeah. NTU feels a lot more chill, I just want to say. To my viewers, right, I really liked when I visited NTU last time for the interview because I felt so at ease and the air was very fresh.
How hard was it for you to get into a college?
It wasn't hard. Like I said, I did well for A-levels. Well enough that I put computer science as my first choice. That's all I needed to do, basically. I just put it as my first choice and got my first choice. In fact, for NTU as well, I put aerospace engineering as my first choice and I also got offered that position. But this is only like the start of the story because once you come into college, the experience is going to be a lot more different and it's a lot more difficult than what I make it sound like when I entered NUS. It's really a lot harder.
Actually, I find it easier.
Oh, you find it easier?
Yeah, easier than A-levels, at least for me.
I found A-levels a lot easier. Okay, I think because maybe I had more of a drive and a goal for A-levels. Because I think when you're in O-levels or A-levels, you always had that drive or goal to enter a good junior college or a good college in the future. But now I'm at a point where like I've already joined NUS and I don't really have to, work hard to get into another institute anymore. That's why I think I lost a lot of my drive and hard working nature because I didn't really see the point anymore. I already got in. So
right now you are in your final year in computing. Do you think actually going to college was worth it?
Wow, heavy question this one. I would definitely say yes. College was worth it, but not for the reasons that you might think of. But I think usually people would think going to college for a degree which will help you secure a good full-time job in the future. I see it more as college has exposed me to a lot of new things. For one, it's networking with a lot of different people. So for example, I've come to know a lot of my friends from hall, which are mostly business students. There are a bunch of financial advisors in there, that I would trust in the future, as much as I like to shit on financial advisors. I also gain a lot of computing friends that are in the tech space who might be able to help me out from time to time. Like even in the content creator space, I've come to know a lot of NUS content creators around. So that was one in the networking opportunities. And secondly is discovery of your direction, I would say, of what you want to do in the future, because college gives you that middle space between not having the pressure to get to somewhere else, but at the same time you don't have to be an adult yet and start to become financially independent. So it gives you that pocket of space where you can just explore and do mostly whatever you want and try to find what you want to do in the future. In TLDR, college was definitely worth it for me, despite the stresses that come with it. I mean, come on, life without stresses will be something boring. It will be pretty boring.
How will you describe your life in college?
Stress, definitely, especially in computer science. I would say my life has been eye-opening so far. It has exposed me to a lot of the positives and negatives, which has kind of shaped me to who I am right now. For the many positives I have, right, like maybe my channel's sort of growing a bit faster than I thought it would this year. And for the many networking opportunities I had, I've also faced the failures, which has helped me learn from it. One of which is that sometimes the thing that you're studying so hard for example me in computer science, right, it's just not something that you really want to do in the future. It's accepting that sometimes you're not that good at some things. And that's why I would say it's eye-opening, because it's not just enjoying the successes. I learned a lot from a lot of failures that have happened.
Yeah, at least you can graduate.
Do you not graduate?
I did. I barely.
How do I say it? It's like a sunk cost fallacy, Once I'm already final year, right? A bit. As much as I wouldn't mind dropping out.
No,
I wouldn't drop out because it's a final year.
You'll be disowned.
Yeah, I'll be disowned by my parents.
Does your grades matter to you?
I think viewers of my channel will know how much I do not care about grades.
For me, I stopped caring after year 2.
I stopped caring after year 1. The moment I came to NUS, right, like my first year, I already told myself, I'm not going to care about my grades. I've already made it to NUS. I just need to graduate. And I'm not going to put myself through hell, right, to go compete with people who objectively are better than me and more interested in the course than me. It was a bit hard at the start, obviously. When you see your friends doing better than you, it does pain you a little bit. It does sting a little bit when they say that, they have their good grades, their A minuses and their A's.
Yeah.
Maybe even their B pluses, They are like, oh, should I SU my B plus or A minus? And you're here looking at your C plus and you're just like, let's not talk about this,
As a student who is almost graduating, how would you suggest to make the best use of college?
Enjoy yourself. It's easy for me to say this because I'm someone that doesn't study a lot. But really, college offers so much more than just studying. Making friends or exploring new interests that you might have, and to just condense your whole college experience to studying for finals and midterms. I will find that quite a pity because you'll be missing out on a lot more that the college has to offer.
After working for 10 years, right, I realized employers doesn't really care about your grades. It's not that important. So yeah, just have fun and make sure you pass.
Yeah, don't forget to have fun. Obviously, you don't want to drop out, but don't forget to have fun when you can.
What do you like about college?
I think I mentioned before, but basically college is this middle ground in between adulting and trying to get into college. This middle ground where you can just explore, and mostly in most cases, for people that are a bit more privileged like me, that are allowed the opportunity, we have this space to just explore and do whatever you want and kind of fail. We have the chance to fail right now because we don't have to think of financial independence yet. I know some students have to work and pay for their own school fees, okay? I'm very grateful to my parents. I guess maybe the lack of real responsibility at the moment.
Yeah, I kind of miss that. Miss that. On the other hand, what do you hate about college?
I think this is a bit more Singapore/NUS specific. I don't like the study culture. The competitiveness, I would say. I find people more focused on doing well in their course rather than actually learning anything from it. The focus is not right, I would say. The motivation to study is to have good grades instead of actually wanting to learn what you're learning. And I do understand the practical standpoint of it and how it's come this way because of how practical Singaporeans are. But I think it's just something I don't really like, especially.
If you have to do it all over again, right, would you do anything differently?
I would probably probably have joined, I think maybe information systems in NUS computing, or probably taken a business course. Information systems focuses more on the management side of things in the tech industry, whereas computer science is more of a specialist kind of role, such as software engineering. You know, you're the direct programmer, but the product manager / project manager, they're more top down. I'm someone that sees myself as more of a generalist rather than being a specialist in a particular role. I'd rather be like the guy looking at the big picture.
What do you want to do after you graduate? Is it a YouTuber?
Side gig definitely lah. Probably do some tech related stuff. You know, tech reviews, iPhone 13 Pro review, MacBook Pro review. I want to be the tech guy in Singapore. And maybe more vlogging in the future, similar to Daniel Tamago. As a full-time job, I actually do want to start a small business of my own. I actually really like photography. I do have some plans for it already. I don't really see myself working for another company lah, because I want to start my own thing.
I saw in one of your videos, right, you work for the Smart Local. Having the experience to work, and right now you're studying. Do you like working or studying more?
I don't like both. I don't really like studying, at least for my course. Honestly, I'm just not very interested in the very nitty-gritty details of software engineering and computer science. As for working, it was fun because the nature of the job allowed me to experience a lot of different things, you know, eat a lot of different food, go to a lot of new attractions when we were doing ads for it. I don't think I really liked having to be responsible to my supervisor, you know, be responsible to the company from time to time, because I would rather just do things for myself lah. Sometimes you feel a bit inhibited when you're working for someone, especially in a creative space, because you have a certain format to follow. So yeah, I wouldn't say I prefer one over the other. Perhaps working for myself, that's one thing I enjoy, but it's infinitely more tiring than either one of those.
Any advice for those who are looking to study in college?
I think I reiterated so many times that grades do not matter for some courses, okay? Disclaimer, okay? Computing jobs, tech related jobs, your GPA doesn't matter so much. Maybe in courses like business, marketing, all this, yes, I understand that CAP does have a certain level of influence when it comes to finding jobs. Okay, I don't want to generalize that grades do not matter already lah. Okay, I understand the other perspective, but if there's any advice, it's that don't just focus on the grades. No matter how big the influence grades will have in your future, don't forget to explore the other things that college really has to offer. So in NUS in particular, we have this entrepreneurship program called NOC, exchange program. You know, there are always events happening here and there in NUS that you can take part in. You know, hackathons. There are actually so many interest groups. You know, there's like lion dance, there's like a b-boying dance group, or breakiness. I'm the president, by the way. Come join breakiness, eh? At breakiness. There are so many sports in NUS, you know, there's just so many things that you can join, but you do have to put in a bit of extra effort to actively source out these things yourself. Don't be so fixated on just the grades to not see that there are so many other things that you could be looking at as well. Yeah, I just think it'll be a real pity lah if you pay all that money and the only thing you're doing is studying.
Yep, you only live once. Thanks for joining me in this interview. If you guys haven't subscribed to Dargoyaki, you can just subscribe to him, make him go past 10k.
End of 2021.
Yep. Like, share and subscribe, as I'll be posting more videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday.
Hey.